Welcome to the top cards of custom Hearthstone. Review of the week. Note, these are custom cards. I only specifically say this because we're in the midst of the Rise of Shadows cards. Speaking of which, there are some spicy Rise of Shadows inspired creations here. First, this video is sponsored by Rangers of Oblivion, a mobile Monster Hunter Playground MMORPG. First, let's create a character. Lots of handsome styles out here. A lot of customization as well. Pretty, cute. You've got your eyes. You can size them differently. Big, huge anime eyes, more regular eyes. Go pink, go blonde, or maybe this, forehead lol. But anyways, saving us through the many options available, I have created a brilliant character already. Here we go! Nice. Yeah, it's me. Welcome to the beautiful fantasy world, 3D fantasy world of Malheim. Oh, why hello there, Sophia. Let's begin our journey.
Great physical health, check.
There are 6 unique weapon types: great sword, lance, longbow, twin blades, staff, and armored gauntlets. Of course, as I'm a pro gamer, how about we try the 5-star difficulty weapon? Oh me, oh my, we're already facing our first behemoth! Matrix! So, against behemoths, you've got some parts that can be destroyed. Destroy a part to knock the behemoth down. Sweet. Cripple its left front leg. Oh, poor Edith. Luck. Oh, let's use my charge up skill. Whoop-pow! Even though I have a great sword, I've got a ranged attack. I've got a dash attack also. This behemoth is wrecking you. that roll. Let's target that leg down. Oh, it's down. Charge up the judgment. Brilliant! Well, adventure is all nice and good. This place is awfully nice and tranquil. You see a friendo over there doing some fishing in this nice peaceful river. The sun is shining, and it's a beautiful day. Use the link below. Check out Rangers of Oblivion. The Madman! Let's start off this review with Grash Alpha Raptor, a Druid hero card, 6 mana, Battle Cry, gain +5 attack this turn, and the classic 5 armor on the hero. Your hero power turns into Wild Ferocity, which is a passive hero power. Whenever you cast a spell, gain +1 attack this turn and 1 armor. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. So 2 spells will give you kind of a free claw. That would kind of equate to every 2 spells is like a free mana and a free card, but claw isn't a very good card. So we could say roughly every 3 spells maybe would give you the benefits of a full card, and that's not that strong. Which is probably good considering that hero powers and heroes in general shouldn't give you infinite value. 5 attack, 5 armor would be valued at roughly 4 mana. Yes, I know Bite it's strictly worse, but Bite isn't really heavily played. Basically, you're paying roughly 2 mana to turn your hero power into this passive hero power, and the whole package costs 6, and you have to kind of run Bite plus. It's solid. You have the entire flavor also. This is the first hero where you're actually getting replaced by a beast, a dinosaur. And I like that idea. Fits the flavor of Druid a lot. Totem Pole, a Shaman 9 mana, 0/1. Battle Cry, gain the stats and text of all basic totems you summoned this game. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 1 star. It's the rare, good design, terrible balance card in that this card is incredibly weak. So let's picture the case where you have pressed your hero power 8 times as a shaman. On average, 2 of each totem. You're gonna get a 215 with taunt, spell damage +2, and heals your minions for 2 at the end of each round. Which is to say, by the way, that even if you have summoned 8 basic totems, the card is still too weak, because that card would not be played. For comparison's sake, Thing from Below is a card that's okay after you've summoned 2 totems. I'd say Totem Pole is okay after you've summoned about somewhere around 8 to 10 totems, which is absolutely ridiculous. There is this slight danger that if you summon enough spell damage totems, then Totem Pole becomes a better Malagos. How could you possibly get that? Maybe playing it in Odd Shaman, get to choose your totems. But given that that's about to rotate, it's not a big deal. And also I don't think it would be that big a deal anyways. So my suggestion on this is drastically reduce the mana cost down to 6 mana. You know, now that I think about it, 6 mana is still too low. You know, sometimes when the card is anchored at 9 mana, you're like, yeah, it's 9, I'm cutting it by 3 mana, that should be enough, right? No, let's make it 5 mana, how about that? Because then the average case is if you summon 4 totems, it's a 1/8 with taunt, and with minor abilities. This is a card that could be pretty interesting if it costs 5 mana instead. Also shouldn't be a legendary, probably epic. Generous Ogre, 5 mana, 5/5, battle cry if your opponent doesn't have a boulder in his hand, give him 1. And the boulder is a 10 mana nothing spell. Basically entirely for the purpose of milling your opponent. Design, 5 stars, balance, 5 stars. And it's not just milling your opponent, because you could play this when your opponent isn't milling, and your opponent's control deck would be kind of limited to keeping just 8 cards in their hand instead of 9 sometimes. The Ogre has a fine stat line as well, and I did rate the balance of 5. However, I think that if you really wanted to push it just a little bit more, I feel like you could. This would be even better as a 5 mana 6/5. Because the card isn't that strong right now, I want to kind of let it see some playability. The Boulder is a little bit of griefing, which is awesome. I like cards that grief people. This is a minor grief. In fact, it's even purposely balanced so that you can't grief them that much, since they can only have limit 1 boulder, which is very smart thinking. There are just so many matchups where this basically does nothing. Any mid-range, any aggro, and in that respect, you're still running just a 5 mana 6/5 vanilla minion if you're up against them, which is still weak. Sunrise Phoenix, 1 mana 1/1, battle cry, add a 2/1 Sunset Phoenix to your hand. Sunset Phoenix, 1 mana 2/1, death rattle if it's your opponent's turn, add a 1/1 Sunrise Phoenix to your hand. Design, 3 stars, balance, 2 stars. This card is absolutely ridiculous. It's meant to mirror Firefly in that it's a 1 mana guy who gives you another guy. The 2/1 is arguably better than Firefly's 1/2. It's a little bit close. But here's the thing past that. The 2/1, after it dies, gets you back the 1/1. Yes, it has to be the opponent's turn, but if you're an aggro deck or if you're a mid-range deck, you could just keep hitting the face with Sunset Phoenix. If you buff the Sunset Phoenix, then they've got to remove it, right? This card compares to infinite value, class-restricted Dreadsteed, which almost saw play at 4 mana as a 1/1. It's not quite as good, but it doesn't quite cost 4 mana either. And this is neutral, which means this infinite train could help with all of the combo enabling from Rogue. Absolutely absurd. Even if the Sunset Phoenix were a 1/1, it would still be too powerful. This card just doesn't work at 1 mana, so you'd have to change the mana cost to something higher, you'd have to adjust the stats. It would have to be designed quite a bit differently, but there is a mana and stat amount that would be pretty interesting for this card, I'd say. Gruul the Dragon Slayer, a 6 mana warrior legendary, 6/6 rush battle cry. If your opponent is holding a dragon, they play it, and this gains +3/+3. So either a 6 mana 6/6 rush or 6 mana 9/9 rush, and your opponent plays the dragon in their hand. Design, 3 stars, balance, 5 stars. This captures the spirit of Gruul pretty well. But there's a major problem with this card, which is I'm always thinking of these cards as in a perspective of could they be printed in Hearthstone? Would this break the game? No, I rated it a balance of 5. It's a decent card. 6 mana 6/6 rush is nothing to write home about, and it's not strong, it's a tech card. But that's where the problem is. I don't believe that class legendaries are the place to be a tech card with like a specific hate effect. This is very specifically targeting dragons. So imagine you're playing Hearthstone and you open this very specific class tech card in Warrior, and you're like, huh, not many people are playing dragons. Why would I play this card, which is, yes, it's slightly understated. And that is a problem. I'd say that the main redesign is that this should be a neutral card. That might actually all that's required to be, but I think that I'm docking the stars that much just for being a class card rather than a neutral card. Neutrals, then you can have all the classes have attack option, and that's kind of fine. And I do like, by the way, these cards that interact with your opponent's plans and that allow for really clever meta counters. This card notably strong against Malagos combos, for example. But no, not a class tech card. Master of Rituals, 4 mana 4/4 Warlock. Battlecry, summon a minion with cost equal to the amount of damage your hero took this turn, up to 10. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 2 stars. Worth noting is that even if you've taken 0 damage, Master of Rituals is going to come in with a Wisp, because that's a 0 mana 1/1, you take 0 damage. And at the face value baseline, 4 mana for a 4/4 and a 1/1 is already too strong. Where this card gets really insane is when you combine it with the natural cards that you're going to be putting in this deck. Presumably a Zoo deck, Crystallizer, Flame Imp, combo with just Crystallizer, and you would get for 5 mana a 4/4, a 1/3, and a 5-drop. That's absolutely ridiculous. So what's the fix here? Pretty easy. Bump up the mana cost. I'm thinking 6 mana. 6 mana for just the vanilla 4/4 plus 1/1, that would be bad. Plus Crystallizer, that would be 7 mana for 7 worth of stats. Plus get a 5-drop, that would be workable. And now for the Rise of Shadows inspired cards. A lot of Dr. Boom fans here. Dr. Boom, Genius of Evil. 6 mana? 6/3? Battlecry, craft a custom mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, add 2 copies of it to your hand. So whoa there, buddy. Design 3 stars. Balance 2 stars. The heart of the Boom has not been kept. Everyone knows Dr. Boom is the 7 mana 7/7, and yet I don't see a single number 7 here. And before you think that I'm being facetious in any way, I'm serious. It's a serious design problem that Dr. Boom does not have a single 7. It's the iconic Hearthstone villain who's all about 7s. Dr. 7, 7 mana 7/7. Dr. Boom Mad Genius was a nod to the original Dr. Boom because it's 7 mana. I mean, the easy first fix is to just nerf this card because it's way too powerful right now, by the way, to 7 mana. Here, let me break it down for you. You're gonna cast this card when you're at 10 mana crystals, okay? You're just gonna do that because getting 3 copies of a custom mech, which by the way is just build a beast, that gives you fuel for days. It lets you do 3, like 8, 9, or 10 drops in a row. The way to think of build a beast, by the way, is it's almost like drawing 2 cards because it's 2 cards combined into 1. In that sense, you could think of Dr. Boom, Genius of Evil as drawing 6 cards because you're discovering 3 copies of something good. So how much is 6 card value worth? Well, for comparison, we have Sprint, which is 7 mana for draw 4. I don't think it's that absurd to think of it 10 mana to draw 3 really good cards as too absurd, especially when you have another guy with it. Now here's the problem. If you're making the card cost 10 mana, then the entire if you have 10 mana crystal thing is pointless. So at the end of the day, I don't think such a design is feasible. It turns out that the words craft a custom mech, if you have 10 mana crystals, add 2 copies of it to your hand, is simply too powerful. I think we could just do Dr. Boom, Genius of Evil, Battlecry, craft a custom mech, period. And then I do also think that we need to have some amount of stat line change so that we have some 7s in here. I'm not even joking, really. If you're designing Dr. Boom, Genius of Evil, you're making a mistake if you don't include the number 7 in here. Probably multiple times. Maybe 7 mana, 7/7 here. Oh, that is really too powerful, but given that Dr. Boom has some pretty random elements to it, how about this? Randomly craft a custom mech. Or maybe Battlecry. Dr. Boom will give you one of his custom mech creations. I'm a genius. Then it's not quite always as good as a super card. It's still a good card because combining any two mechs should give you like a really good result. I mean, there's some really bad ones still, but that'll be much more balanced. Next up for Warrior, Boom Scheme. 5 mana, summon 1 Boom Bot, upgrades each turn. We've seen the Warlock scheme, which is for 3 mana, you summon a mere 1/1. So 2 mana more, this guy's gonna give you a Boom Bot instead of just a normal 1/1. So how much better than a 1/1 is Boom Bot? Design 5 stars, balance 1 star. It turns out that Boom Bots are really good, especially when you have the potential of summoning 7 of them. 7, doing an average damage of 2.5 apiece, is 17.5 damage. Plus Boom Scheme allows you to play it and then brawl immediately, which will probably deal 17.5 damage to the opponent's face, which is ridiculous. How can we fix this card? I think it's easy. You simply make the mana cost 10. Then it's a little bit comparable to Pyroblast in that the damage potential here is 17.5 damage, but at least it's randomly distributed. Plus you get 7 1/1s on top. And you have to wait 6 turns. I think that would be fair. Evil Application. 3 mana Paladin card. Twin spell, give all lackeys in your hand +2/+2. Utilizing both new mechanics of twin spells and lackeys. Cool. Design 1 stars, balance not applicable. What happened here? This guy didn't get the memo, and all of custom Hearthstone didn't get the memo. Did you know that Paladin is not one of the evil classes? So Paladins aren't gonna get lackeys. Womp womp. So then you might think, could we just give this to another class? So who is the one who's recruiting all these lackeys? Wouldn't it be Rafam? So might this make sense in Warlock? Warlocks have a little bit of hand buff, but for some reason I don't get the sense that they're gonna have that much lackey play. It just doesn't feel very Rafamish, especially after we see that Rafam scheme just gives you imps. This is a whole bunch of nonsense. Dr. Boom's Boombox. 5 mana 0/4 for Warrior. Death Rattle, cast Bouncing Blade, Arcane Missiles, Bouncing Blade, Arcane Missiles. Design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. The reason on the slight hit on design is this Warrior card is casting Arcane Missiles, and while explosions are very flavorful here, I'm not entirely sure about the idea of giving this Warrior card a Death Rattle that does a mage effect. So I'm suggesting a simple change. Death Rattle cast Bouncing Blade, Whirlwind. It's still very flashy. The Bouncing Blade would guarantee 2 minions die. You have to put a little bit of work into it, so the card needs a helper card. But your 2 cards, killing 2 of their cards, which could be really big. At the same time, you have to manipulate things so that their small guys don't die. Sure, seems to make sense. If you consider this a card that draws and casts 2 Bouncing Blades and 2 Whirlwinds, that's potentially like 4 cards in 1 and 8 mana, but the cards themselves, like, they don't really work well together, and Bouncing Blade was never a monster powerhouse, so it's fine. Finally, Overlord Vatu. 4 mana 3/4 neutral legendary. Your lackeys have Echo. Design 4 stars, balance 3 stars. This card is very much like Glinda from Warlock, except it's neutral and it costs 2 fewer mana. On top of that, it has the problem that your lackeys are cards that you want to echo anyways, because they're 1 mana stuff with very powerful effects. So you've given Glinda to every single class in the game that can use lackeys. We don't know quite how good the lackey generators are yet, but I'm quite certain that even with just the rogue combo card we've seen that adds 2 lackeys to your hand, that Overload Vatu plus that card would just be run, and it would be insane. Sure, you could just run Glinda and lackeys as well, so it seems like Glinda lackey has probably been tried, so 6 mana is probably a fair place to put Overload Vatu. That's what I'm suggesting. You nerf this card by 2 mana. Perhaps you mirror the stats a little more closely to Glinda as a result. But there's your top cards of Custom Hearthstone. Looking forward to seeing what more creations, and if there are more fan favorites other than Dr. Boom on the League of Villains.